All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is November 18th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all my paying subscribers. I think you all made some money today, in the morning at least. Maybe not in the afternoon, but in the morning. How I made 8,300 today with a 64K account. Let's go take a look at the market. All right, so we're taking a look at, you got 10-minute downtrends. 10-minute downtrend is candlesticks, dipping below the 3 EMA, which is this yellow line. And the 3 is below the 8 EMA. And you can see the daylight between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA right through here. So nice 10-minute downtrend. This was what we left off with the day before, and then we had a week 1 candle uptrend. Now, in the post-market, pre-market, we had another sort of 10-minute downtrend, but if you look at it, the candles are snugged right up next to the 8 EMA, and there's hardly any daylight in between the 8 EMA and the 3 EMA. So clearly bulls were kind of operating in this area. They don't seem to be committed, but you can see where the 3 EMA and the candlesticks kind of eclipse almost the daylight that should be there. Between the 3 and the 8 looks nothing like this. This 10-minute downtrend looks nothing like that right there. All right, so first candle this morning, I went down to a 3-minute time frame, and on the maybe even a 2-minute. I was on the 2-minute, and for the opening candle, I saw descending highs right here. So I called out in the room that I'm buying puts, and you can see we had this huge wick candle right here where you've got a huge top wick and a huge tail down here, and you can see right here where we had to watch the bodies to see where they go. And as soon as we saw the bodies close below the body of this, I call it the Sith saber sword candle, because it's got 2 points on each end right there. But anyways, you can see this eclipsed all of this bullish action, and that's where I said I'm buying puts right here. And we bought puts to flush down into here, and we even reloaded on the failure to hit VWAP right here, and we rode that down to there. And I called out in the room. I said, hey, be careful. We're getting close to what could be a double bottom, all right, and they could rip it from here, and they did. You can see clearly they did, and you can see price action come up, and then J hook, not a pretty J hook, but they J hooked off of the VWAP line right through here. So price ripped up, and we traded the uptrend there, bought the pullback, just like we bought the pull up. Right here with puts, we bought the pull up, and we rewrote it back down into the second bottom down here. So here we are with the pullback, and we reloaded on the pullback here, and we had a nice rip run all the way up to back up to the Sith candle right here, and we kind of held there for 6 10-minute candles, but after multiple tries of trying to get higher, which clearly they should have, the bulls just did not have the strength. They were completely overrun by the bears here, just overrun by the bears, due to they just couldn't get a high, couldn't gap fill. All right, the fact that they couldn't gap fill, all right, was clearly a sign of weakness on their part. And I think the bears smelled it, all right, not being able to fill gap. They kind of smelled the weakness, and yeah, they took over at the end of the day and just jammed it down back down underneath VWAP here. So you can see on the 10-minute chart coming into the close, 10-minute downtrend, nothing but red candles here. Look at that. Okay, so 10-minute downtrend. So come tomorrow, I'll be looking for a continuation of the 10-minute downtrend. Now, you got to note, all right, they failed to produce a lower low here, and they did it again. They failed to produce a lower low here. So, I mean, I'm going to be watching when I do trade this tomorrow that the bears need to break that low. All right, because we've got a higher low here, and we've all seen it where the higher low, the bulls get inspired to make the higher high. So shorting the SPY right here when we haven't made a lower low yet, I'm going to be careful when I do it because I need them to take out this low right here. So we'll see what happens, and it very well may gap underneath this and just flush lower, or it may gap up. It may close up here and then start to work its way down and double bottom. I don't know what it's going to do, but we do have some bulls operating in this area from right here. We can see that. From right here, we can see that. And obviously here, they gave up quite a bit of ground, not holding the higher ground here. So there's SPY in the 10-minute, coming into the close, 10-minute downtrend. 2-hour chart. All right, 2-hour chart coming into the close. Still got that 2-hour downtrend. Nothing's changed there. Daily chart. Daily chart up here, lower high, lower low. Closing below a trap, below the 17. Got a double top up here. We got some economic news coming out tomorrow, as well as NVIDIA earnings after the close. So we got some FOMC minutes tomorrow at 2 p.m. So probably be a volatile next few days, being since we're going to have the employment situation on Thursday at 8:30, and then we're going to get FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and then on top of that, at the close tomorrow, we're going to get NVIDIA earnings, okay? Now, I'm just saying there's a lot of social media, SOFI stock. I mean, I guess they dumped their NVIDIA shares. There's rumors of Berkshire Hathaway dumping their NVIDIA shares. Lot of rumors out there of dumping NVIDIA shares. So it'd be interesting to see what happens if it's just nothing but a trap and they rip higher. I don't know. All right, but we're gonna need NVIDIA on our side if we're gonna hit 700 before Christmas. Okay, we're gonna. I don't think you can do it without it. All right, I really don't think we can hit 700 without NVIDIA. Okay, in an uptrend. All right, so this is either the top, and we're going to find out tomorrow, or this is just some sort of mind game in the news, and they do that sometimes. They start sharing all kinds of poo-poo and caca on somebody's stock, and the next thing you know, that thing rips higher because there's a short squeeze. That's sometimes what happens. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. So this is SPY on the daily. We're in a downtrend. We made, you can see here's a low. We made lower lows, so we're in a downtrend on the SPY. We're up here in quadrant 4. This is still bullish up here, but you got to be moving up, and we're not moving up. And then on top of not moving up, we've also put in a double top, one here and one here. So we'll see what happens. This is SPY on the daily. It's bullish, but not moving up. It's in a downtrend currently we've had, well, that was not a bad candle, but these last 4 days have not been helpful at all. And on top of that, we made a lower low as compared to this rally up there, kind of voiding this whole bull move here. So you've had a red erases green right here on the chart. You can see where green goes from the bottom right here. Okay, green goes from right there up to the top up here. So there's your green move from the bottom up to the top. Now here's your red move. All right, comes in and it goes from, well, right here, and then it goes clear down to here. Okay, so there's your red move. So you got a red move that goes, you know, all the way down to there, eclipsing all of the green move, leaving an entry, which would be right below that tail right here. So this would have been the entry, but you can see the bulls bought it up this afternoon. So we'll see what happens tomorrow if it rolls over again. But here's a closing candle below this big tail candle right there. You can see that's way more tail than body and wick, and obviously the bulls dominated that candle right there as price came down. They sure came back with a vengeance on that. So there's SPY daily chart. Weekly chart, let me just clear this stuff off because we don't need it, and it's just going to mess up the other ones. All right, so weekly chart, still in an uptrend. Nothing's broken yet. We are pulling back. We're in an uptrend, but we're dealing with a pullback in the uptrend. On the monthly chart, got still clearly in an uptrend. Nothing's broken. We're about to do a bearish engulfing on this last green candle. Haven't quite completed it yet, so maybe they get down there and then they reverse the other direction. We'll see what happens. We got a few days coming up that should give us some clear signs. So there's SPY on the monthly chart, still in a monthly uptrend. Here's that April low, and you can see there's May, June, July, August, September, October, and then here's November, trying to do the bearish engulfing on October's candle right there. Okay, so there's monthly in an uptrend, weekly still in an uptrend, daily got the lower high, made the lower low in a downtrend, and then closing below this tail right there. It was not a good sign. Not today, not at all. So, but we do have FOMC tomorrow at 2. Things could reverse. We'll see what happens on the daily chart. All right, so let's take a look at QQQ. All right, QQQ, price action for QQQ. Looking like the same thing. They got the Sith lightsaber candle right here. And then price comes down. And then a little pullback. And then another rip down on the 10-minute chart. And they made a higher low. And then the bulls got inspired to make a higher high. Didn't take out the lightsaber candle, but they did take out this high right here. So after the higher low, they took out this high. All right. And then here we got possibly another failure to make a lower low, so got a higher low here. We could be inspired to race back up here and climb on top of the uptrend line, all right, that's from way back here. Okay, so got an uptrend line. This is QQQ now, not SPY. All right, so here's our 10-minute chart. So we're leaving off the day with a 10-minute downtrend. Okay, 10-minute downtrend. Again, on tomorrow morning, I'll be looking for a decent candle. I won't want to take a candle that has more tail, all right, than body and wick, something like that. Even if it's red, not interested in it because it clearly shows me some bullish control. And I said bulls are kind of operating through here. You can see clearly this 10-minute downtrend just same one line QQQ does not look like this 10-minute downtrend in the open market. So clearly the bulls are operating. They turned in, made some higher lows and a little higher high here. Didn't do anything groundbreaking, all right? But obviously they're operating here somewhere between 590 and 600. They're obviously roaming in the area. So there's 10-minute. That's in a downtrend. 2-hour. Yep, you got the candles under the 3. The 3 is 3 and the candles under the falling 8. You got 2-hour downtrend still coming into the close. On the daily chart, again, we closed below this candle here. So we got a lower high and a lower low. So QQQ in a downtrend right there, QQQ. Weekly chart, getting a pullback, all right. Still in an uptrend, but got a 3-candle pullback there on the weekly chart. Still in the uptrend. You can see the daylight. See what I'm talking about? Nice daylight between the 3 and the 8. You know, clear view right through. Not obstructed by candles or anything. So there's nice daylight right through there. So that's nice weekly uptrend. We're getting a little pullback right now. And that's healthy sometimes. Let me just say that. Okay, almost a bearish engulfing here on the monthly candle. Still in an uptrend. Again, nice daylight between, the yellow 3 EMA and the 8 EMA. So still in a monthly uptrend. Nothing's broken on the monthly or weekly. On the daily, we're in a downtrend because we made lower highs and lower lows. All right. So, but let me just say, hey, we've been here before. Okay, we've been here before. Where we made lower highs and lower lows right here. As a matter of fact, we were right here at the beginning of October, where we have a low and we made a lower low right here. Okay, so we've been here before. I'm not saying the top is in, but we've been here before. It's possible they could rip it up out of here. We'll see. All right. Again, in order to, get things going on, they got to decapitate the head up here because we've got that bearish head and shoulders pattern that we're observing. This being the right shoulder, all of this the left shoulder, all of the all-time highs up there are the head. And if we decapitate the head, then there's no head and shoulders pattern to play out because there's no head. All right, so there's QQQ on the daily chart, still in a downtrend, still up there in quadrant 4, so that's bullish, but not moving up. It's in a downtrend currently. So we'll see. We got some big earnings coming in tomorrow night, 4.5 trillion. We'll see what happens with those. Let's take a look at IWM. Lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap underneath the 17. You can see here's a low, and they made a lower low. So IWM in a daily downtrend. They closed in quadrant 4. They're still bullish, but still in a downtrend right there on IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, here's Diamond Dow putting in a lower high and a lower low. There's a low. They made a lower low. So even though they made an all-time high right here, they turned around and made a lower low after making the all-time high. Okay, so they couldn't hold. This is what I'm saying. Holding the higher ground is important. All right, so they couldn't hold the higher ground. And so they're in a downtrend, but still bullish up here in quadrant 4. FNGU. All right, FNGU losing right here. This is not a good sign, not for the bulls anyways. Losing the major support right through here. All of this consolidation right through here needs to hold. And right there, we've got closing underneath. All of this is not a good sign unless the bulls come back tomorrow and repair this this leak that they have in the dam. All right, they need to fix the leak tomorrow. Maybe NVIDIA fixes the leak. We'll see what happens. But there's FNGU daily chart. busting through major support. Okay, they get any follow through, and I'm going to tell you, it's bad news bulls, not bad news bears. It's going to be bad news bulls because there's a good chance we're probably coming down to either the 100 SMA or maybe even the 200 SMA. We'll see. There's FNGU. All right. I don't see us, like I said, I don't see us getting to 500 unless NVIDIA is in an uptrend. It doesn't have to make brand new all-time highs, but I think we're going to need NVIDIA in an uptrend. This whole rally was largely based on AI, not just the economy. Economy is doing okay, but it was largely based on AI. And without NVIDIA, you have a very small footprint in AI without NVIDIA. All right, just saying. Without there's this one thing that's dependent on AI, and that is graphics chips. And there's only a couple producers of graphics chips that do it in mass production, and that's AMD and NVIDIA. And I'm just saying, like, if that doesn't, we're going to need NVIDIA in an uptrend. So I would not be surprised to see NVIDIA, no matter what the turnout is tomorrow, whether it's good or bad. They may even just rally it based on they need NVIDIA in order to get to 700. So there's FNGU on the daily chart, breaking the major support. Not a good sign at all. It clearly needs to be repaired sometime tomorrow. We'll see. Weekly chart still in an uptrend. We haven't broken any lows. Of course, the first low is all the way down here. I don't think we'll ever break that low, not for a while anyways. And the monthly chart, this is too new. Again, the first low is clearly way down here. They don't even have any green dots on the monthly chart. So let's go take a look at silver and gold, see what's going on there. Okay. Again, NVIDIA no longer in quadrant 4, barely contained in the upper third right there. This is the midpoint. It's got to stay in the upper third to stay bullish. All right, you can see how it's trying hard to stay in that upper third. All right, there's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at gold. Gold's candle today, higher low, higher high, closing under a bearish trap and under the 17 EMA. So that's and under the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish, but still in an uptrend for gold. Silver. Okay, silver has got a higher high, higher low, closing inside a bullish trap over the rising 17. That's bullish and still in an uptrend for silver. Okay, bullish and still in an uptrend. UNG. Okay, UNG. Remember I was talking about this. Everybody kind of excited about UNG, and here it is making a trip up there, making the higher high, first higher high in a long time. Again, clearly unable to hold the higher ground. All right, this is why I can't get excited about stuff like this. So we'll see when it pulls back to trend, if they can at least hold trend. That will be nice. We'll see what happens with that. UNG daily chart, lower high, lower low, closing under the bullish trap, but over the rising 17 in quadrant 1. Is in an uptrend right now, but this is bearish territory down here in quadrant 1, and still unable to hold the higher ground. Okay, so not a very good look. All right, USO, we have ourselves a downtrend right here. Price action is still in a downtrend till they take out that high. All right, if they took out that high, they'd have an uptrend. Nice green candle, but no cigar. Just didn't take it far enough. Kind of like the bulls today in the SPY market. Just didn't remember the task at hand. All right, was get a first down, and they did not get the first down. All they got was I don't know. Looked like a penalty to me. A USO daily chart still in a downtrend. Haven't made the higher high yet, and still neutral. Not in the upper third, not in the lower third. So this is still neutral. Still clearly under the downtrend line right there. So just neutral and still in a downtrend. Nice move up today, but clearly no cigar. Not without the higher high, unless they get followed through tomorrow. So there's USO. Take a look at our technicals. And first one we'll come up to is T2101. And yes, we moved further south again today. And guess what happened? More participation on the selling side. Okay, more and more participation. Market breadth increases as we move lower, and we did move lower again today. So there's T2101. Again, increasing participation as the market's coming down. All right, on T2122. Surprised with T2101, market came down, and then we had increased participation. But on T2122, I would have thought we would have been in the oversold zone all day long, but we were not. We actually clawed ourselves out of the oversold zone to finish the day in the sell zone. Still no higher highs, but just decided to camp out in the sell zone instead of the oversold zone. I guess this was too hot. I don't know, for the bears. They wanted the sell zone. This was way too hot for them. I don't know. T2122 camping out in the sell zone. Okay, so a little bit better look than where we left off yesterday, but clearly still a whole lot of work to be done. Need to get back to the midpoint and at least the bullish side of the 50-yard line. Okay, so there's T2122. Take a look at T2123. Bearish gap down, not filled by the bulls. No surprise there. We saw the same thing in SPY. The bears smelled the weakness and they just started pushing it down. So a whole lot of consolidation down here. You can see all the whippiness that's happening right there. And right here we got supposed to find support right on this line. Looks like they found support a little bit early. We'll see. Still no higher high on the 15-minute chart. So we're still in a downtrend, still underneath the 200 SMA. Again, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. Got a bearish gap down, never filled by the bulls. Not looking good for the bulls for tomorrow. All right. Clearly the bears have definitely kicked a few field goals and definitely accomplished a few first downs. T2123, 3-bar chart. Again, bearish gap down. Of course, it's the same product. So if you got a bearish on the 15, you're going to get one on the 3-bar too because it's the same product. Again, lower lows. All right, even out digging out even lower lows. T2123, 3-bar, digging out lower lows under the 200 SMA. Again, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. The good news is like this 200 is still kind of, even though we've been melting lower, the velocity of this 200 is still rising. So I don't know. Maybe there's a possibility that the bulls could find their way back on top of it. We'll see. So this is the all-time high. This is the first wave of the pullback low. Well, here's the first wave of the pullback low. The second wave of the pullback low. The third wave. And then this is the fourth wave of the pullback low. On the first wave, we made a lower high. Second wave, we made a lower high. Third wave, we made a lower high. Now we got the fourth wave. We'll see if we're going to make another lower high. Okay, you can see we got higher, a lower low. Got a low here. Got a lower low, and another lower low. And of course, you can see here is another lower low. So here's T2123. I'm just going to move this out of the way for just a second, and I'm going to move this. You can see price action right here. I'm going to move this all the way over here for right now. You can see it's under. It's no longer in quadrant 4. See how they lost it? Okay, but we had a bearish head and shoulders pattern right here before, all right? So it'll be interesting, okay, if, you know, if they get down here, or maybe this is a clear sign that they're ready to fight now, this bearish head and shoulders, which was decapitated, all right, because they took out the head. So without the head, you have no bearish head and shoulders pattern. But now we've got a bigger head and shoulders pattern, with this being the head, that being the left shoulder, this being the right shoulder. Clearly, this has been support before. They're coming into an area what has been support before. I'm curious whether that's going to hold. Based on the 15-minute, I'll go back to it. Okay. Clearly, there was some signs of a battle right through here. Look at the long whippy tails, like bulls buying it back up, bears pushing it down. So obviously, they're trying to put up a fight in an area that was once support before on T2123. So again, this is nice, but need to see some higher highs. Got to turn the boat around. Just because you have a skirmish doesn't make it bullish yet. Okay, you gotta move price. Can't just have a skirmish. FNGU right here. Again, FNGU breaking the major support, putting in. You can see right here, lower high. Are the bears going to be inspired to make some lower lows? We'll see. FNGU 15-minute. They made a high here. They made a higher high. So I'll call it a weak uptrend. Nothing really spectacular, because there's a high over the 17. Okay, there's a low. There's a higher low. There's a high. There's a higher high. Still haven't made the lower low, so we'll call it a 15-minute uptrend. Not a very strong uptrend, but it is starting the ball. Everything starts somewhere. Again, bearish gap down, like on FNGU, not filled by the bulls. Okay, not a good sign. Got to fill the gap. All right, if they don't fill the gap by noon, the bears are going to smell weakness. And here you saw that big sell-off coming into the close on SPY, FNGU, and QQQ. Same thing on all of them. All right, still underneath the 200 SMA. 200 on FNGU is dipping lower. You can see clearly it's pointed down, not up. All right, all-time high anchored VWAP pointed down, not up. Again, price underneath it, the 200 and the all-time high. So nothing really working for the bulls yet. So we'll find out tomorrow. This is kind of the line in the sand. They need to repair this hole in the dam sometime tomorrow. Maybe, it could be as late as NVIDIA earnings. In aftermarket hours, they could repair it. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's 15 minutes. Let's go back to our charts over here. And none of these are the charts I want. So let me go a little bit further. Looking for the one I like. I can use that one. All right. SPY. All right, and let's slide this over. Let's pull up the 10-minute chart. Okay. Here's our price action for today. These are the products I traded. QQQ put, made 148 on that. No, that's not the chart I want. Let's try this one. All right, here we go. Okay, on a 10-minute, right there. Okay, and then lift this up. All right. Bought some QQQ puts and made some profit on those. You can see I bought low. This is the 18th right here. Right through here. Okay. Bought low. Sold high. So I made some profit on QQQ. 3 days till expiration. 570 put. SPY. 3 days till expiration. 640 put. Again, I bought low and I sold high. So I made some profits on those 640 puts. 700 calls, 3 days till expiration. I bought low and I sold high. So I made a little money on the 700 calls right there on the bounce. This, I'm still working with it. Puts, 250 on these puts. Again, bought low, sold high. All right, so I made money on those puts. Lost 90 on these. I was looking for 665 at the end of the day. He's actually looking for a rally. He's looking for when the bulls might be inspired to drag it back up to 665. Clearly, they went home or they went to the bar. I don't know what happened, but they just kind of like left the Coliseum and went to the local pub to have a beer because they did not show up at the end of the day. I was looking for them for a thriller trade into the end of the day. It did not work out, so I lost 90 there. 668 calls, bought low. You can see where I buy low and I sold high. All right, and then I reload and I sell high, and I reload and I sell high. I reload, sell high. This is just a constant reload, sell high. Made 1,200 on those. 650 puts. Again, I bought the puts low right here. And then as price comes down, the value of the put goes up. So I sell into strength on the option. All right, so the option will increase in value as the price of the underlying security dips lower. That's only on puts. On calls, price has to go up for the value of the call to increase in value. So you can see here I was just trading the option candle, picking off the lows, selling into strength, picking off the lows, selling into strength. Just a constant repetition of picking off the lows and selling into strength right there. Repeated the process and then repeated it again. It's like, rinse and repeat. That's all I did. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, and repeat. Same process. Same thing here on these calls. Okay, again, picking off the lows, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. In this move from this low up to this higher low, up to this higher low, rinse and repeat on the calls. Made $7 on that. Clearly, you don't really want to look at how I made $7. It's not going to interest you. It's not going to help you much at all. QQQ, $31 on QQQ puts. Obviously, we had a downtrend. I bought the puts, sold into option strength right there, sold into option strength and got myself out. More 590 puts, did the same thing. Okay, we had a downtrend, so I bought low and I sold high. So I made 123 there. 687, 678 calls. We had an uptrend, so bought there. And doesn't even show where I sold, so not sure what happened. Maybe I closed. Oh, I know. I had these. These were sold short. They were covered calls, so I had like a credit spread from last night, and then I covered in the morning as price came down to 1 penny on those. So that's it. All right, that's it for me for today. All right, we're looking for the bulls to make some repairs in the dam tomorrow. We'll see. They might not get to work until 4:15 after NVIDIA reports their earnings. We'll see what happens tomorrow. So that's it for me. Everybody have a beautiful evening. I'll see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Thank you, everyone.